Wednesday. Every Wednesday. Rain or shine. Because it doesn't rain or shine in my basement. So it doesn't matter. It's Wind Waker Wednesday. You know what that means. You know what that means. Let's do it. Let's transcribe some Wind Waker. How's everyone doing? Is everyone having a good Wednesday? Well, good. I hope so. Today we're transcribing the Encounter with Tetra music. We've finished transcribing the battle theme, first introduced in the forest, where Tetra gets dropped by that giant bird. And after braving the creepy woods with your newly acquired sword, you go to save Tetra, and you don't actually save Tetra. She just falls out of the tree, lands on the ground, and then her pirate, what's the pirate's name? It's like Gonzo or something. He comes in and goes, "Oh, Miss Tetra, oh!" And she goes, "Let's get out of here." And he goes, "What about the boy?" And she goes, "What about the boy?" Because you really didn't do anything. I guess you killed the enemies that were in the forest. So when she fell out of the tree, she didn't fall right into a bokoblin trap. So you did something. Come on. Give yourself some credit. So this is the Encounter with Tetra thing. Okay, I'm already annoyed. What instrument is that? Strings and timpani. I would bet $1 million this is written by Hajime Wakai. This sounds so Pikmin-y. But there's no proof, so I'm not going to put it. He was one of the credited composers on the soundtrack. Like, what instrument is that? Some sort of keyboard something. Well, let's put the timpani in. We'll put the strings in. Oops. Strings. Bum. Celesta, good call. Babadaboo. Oh yeah, that'll do. So let's see. Starts on a tritone. So it sounds like the top voice might just be doing a beam, beam, and the bottom voice is doing some sort of like duh. Something. Let's get the notes. Did we but they? I don't know if that tritone is right, but let's see. Boom, boom. How does this sound? Yeah, the tempo is pretty much the exact right tempo too. That's fun. Have you guys played any music this last weekend? Anyone do any gigs or anything? The Wind Waker's instruments are so cool. It's got a really distinct palette, even though it does a lot of wind instruments, wind quintet-y. Not wind quintet, because there's always also strings and stuff too, but there's a lot of weight given to oboes and bassoons and things. Quirky sounds. Let's see here. Is that like, could that possibly what it is? Oh, maybe it's that. Oh, I think I know what's going on. I think that's doing this, and then this is doing a da-ga-da. Bomb. Okay. Maybe it won't staccato it. I don't think you need to. Okay. Wind Waker Wednesday. It's exactly what it sounds like. I am gonna do more tier list videos, I think. Here's my problem. Wait, can I do a video on how to hum a melody? Is that a bit? Is that hard to hum a melody? How do you teach someone how to hum a melody? That's pretty much. If someone couldn't hum a melody, I guess it would be that they're tone deaf or like they can't hear if they're hitting the right pitches. So I would sit down at a piano and hit a note and then try and hum that note. I would try, you know what can help actually? For like generally speaking, trying to hum out of tune too. Or like try and hum a really crunchy note against it and then being able to hear the crunch, then you know what to avoid. I should teach people how to hear. That's a good idea too. I want it. So here's the thing, the tier list videos. Is this like a dumb? Is it? Am I not selling out? But it feels like a dumb thing to make a tier list video, and I was doing it as kind of like a dumb. You know, I'm gonna do the dumb YouTuber-y thing, and then it like it is doing great. And seems like everyone liked it. So I'm like, oh, okay. I guess tier lists are just fun. I don't need to overthink it. So I think I will. But I got to think of some way to like make it fresh. I don't want to just do like another tier list Pokemon cycling themed tier list. And then, you know, whatever. Or maybe I should. I don't know. If you're like, you're overthinking it, just do more tier lists. Let me know. Make that a half note. Then I'll make a tier list video ranking my tier list videos. What's that? It's just a tritone. Sweet. Don't overthink it. Feed us slop. Okay. I will. Thanks for the thank you. Cause yeah, I feel like it's a good way to, I don't know. A lot of my videos I kind of like am trying to figure out what to explain. Like what like I'll take a video game soundtrack and start looking at it and then think like, well, what is there in this video game soundtrack that I could explain? Like what's a theory idea? But I feel like I also try and avoid topics I've covered before, so now I'm kind of writing myself into a corner a bit of like, I don't know if there's anything new in these Pokemon Surf themes that I haven't talked about before, theoretically. But the tier list was a fun way of like, well, here's all this stuff about them. Anyway, you know, here's what I find interesting. This is gonna be such an annoying transcription to make. If there was a day that started with the letter X, I would do a Xenoblade Zax day, but nothing I can do, sorry. I don't make the week. So that's a flute on top. Let's just get one thing in each of these little booms. We'll just get one instrument, what one instrument is doing, and then we will fill it out after. Okay. So the first one. Oh, Final Fantasy Fridays. So that'd keep my Fridays busy for quite a while, hey? Let's see here. Man, that is hard to hear. Yeah, it's interesting. Like I know logically, not every video has to have some new thing in it, but I guess it's tough with YouTube because there's not like, if I had like a classroom full of specific people, like 30 specific people that all had a certain amount of theory knowledge, then I could easily go, well, what do they need to know? What do they already know? What do they need to know? But YouTube, you just do whatever. And then the people that already know what you're talking about don't watch your video or don't finish your video. And the people that don't know what you're talking about, your audience adapts to what you put out. So you just, I just gotta stop thinking about things so much, I think. That is a D flat, but what's the first note? D-do-do-do. Something like that, right? Let's see. No. I think it's way up here. I got that part. What do you think, that's a bassoon? I'm gonna put in bassoon. Get the bassoon going. So this is a dotted eighth note. That's not right though. Yeah. Oh, it's a whole tone thing, isn't it? Yeah, something like that. Maybe I should make these sharps. So that's too long though. There we go. And then what next? This is so hard. This is so much harder than like a big thick orchestra, because it's beep boom boom, totally random notes, no logic to it. Oh, I'm sure there is logic to it. No obviously discernible logic to these super fast random flitty notes. So I'm gonna get distracted by the chat a lot instead of working on this because this is hard. Nice to have concepts in your force. True. Yeah, and like there's something to be said for like I know what voice leading is, but being able to see the voice leading in this Final Fantasy tune instead of always looking at, Bach chorales or whatever is cool. My hair is just crazy today. I need a haircut and I need one bad. Should I do middle part? What are we thinking? How's that? You're very welcome, Coco Fluff the Tiger. Thank you for the kind words. Yeah, each of these could be a soundboard button. Oh my goodness. Okay, so it seems like a lot of sort of augmented sounds, whole tone sounds. I almost left my hair in the middle part the whole stream and forgot. Oops. That's definitely trombone. No brass instrument sounds that silly except the trombone. Okay. Is this good April Fool's Day sounding music? Finally a scale, something I can latch onto here. Let's see. Is it piccolo? It seems pretty low for piccolo. No? I mean, I guess this is high, so it could be. But like this? That would be down here on a piccolo staff, so. And it rits a little bit, it sounds like. So let's get a rit on there. And then what does the bassoon do? Beep, bom, 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 beep. Bom, bom, bom. I was thinking the other day, I think transcription and probably a lot of music skill boils down to being able to remember a pitch. Like if I play a pitch, if I play and then say remember this and then play a bunch of other stuff. Can you remember the first one that you're supposed to remember, you know? Because that's the hardest part. I remember being way worse at that, at remembering a pitch when I started transcribing music all the time. And now I got it down. I'm pretty good. Does it slow down? Or maybe... No, it definitely does, right? Let's do it. Okay. It slows down a little bit maybe, but I think I made a dumb mistake. These are 16th notes. And then I think you could say these come in on the offbeat. And then this little like congo, whatever it is, bongos. This little bongo roll happens. Oh, I don't need piano, do I? There. Let me get rid of the piano. Boom. Okay. Percussion is weird. Okay. So then we get into a groove. A little fermata there. A fermata there. And we'll put a double bar line. Beep, boom, beep. So then, okay, so what happens in this groove? What instruments are in here? Let's see. What the heck is that? Sounds reedy for sure. meh. Like, what is that? It's not like accordion, but it's vaguely accordion-y. This was something to fit the cutscene. So it's like, you find Tetra. Oh, there she is. Oh, there she is. And then she falls. I've played this game a lot of times. If my memory serves, she falls and hits the ground with this little stinger. Wow! Boom. And then gets up and is like, whoa, where am I? And that's what all this April Fool's Day music is for. She's like, what's going on? Who are you? And then when she calms down, starts talking, then it goes into the more normal part. I believe. Let's fill out this section before we move on to the next one, since that's like kind of like a different part. Okay, so this does not go back up. It holds like that. Could be clarinet and oboe playing together, or some sort of combination of reedy winds, for sure. Okay, so there's some pit strings going on. I think the first note is not an A, but I think the second note is an A. I guess that would be because this is C sharp leading up to C sharp, so this would harmonize well. It sounds a little weirder than that, though. I think there's two string notes. Might be something like that. Let's see. I think we got there. That sounds good. Let's see. And then there's also a little that would be like a Glock, I guess, eh? It doesn't ring the way a Glock rings out, though. But it's not the Celesta. Is that super high xylophone? Maybe that's what it is. Let's put on some super high xylophone. I'm not going to do soprano xylophone, even though that might be what I need. I've never heard of a soprano xylophone. That's funny. Oh, man, that is hard to hear those notes. I think it's doubling the flute part. I think it's doing this. Do-ba-dee-doo. We know it's whole tone E and augmented triad E. So it's something like that. Man. Sounds like that last note might be way down there, though. Let's see. something like that? I'm just totally guessing and checking here. No, it sounds like it goes down to a C sharp at the start of this little 4-note fragment. Let's see. Well, let's get the pit strings on this beat. Maybe that's what's messing me up. Boop bop. Boop bop. Maybe I should put these in separate voices. Like that. So you can see. I'll make these G sharps since everything else is sharp. Oh no, but those should be flats there. Well, whatever, it doesn't matter. Okay, let's see. If only humans could squint their ears. That's what it feels like sometimes. Come on! What's that xylophone playing? Logic dictates the same pattern of this is an A augmented triad, starting on the third and skipping the sharp 5, leaping up to the root, and then the harmonized note skips the, it's not a third down. It's whatever that is. An augmented fifth down, I guess. And then skips a chord tone. Like they're both doing the same thing, starting on different notes of the augmented triad, harmonizing each other in augmented fifths. And so if they do that again, but just each move down one chord tone from where they were, then you get... And it sounds like that's what they're doing. So, how's it going? I think that sounds good, actually. I think that's what it is. The shape is definitely doo-ba-dee-doo, So I think that is what it is. Maybe, it doesn't sound right though. Why does it sound darker than my version? Maybe I'm just hearing a weird undertone or overtone or something. You know what I mean? Like, this doesn't sound dark enough. The piece on the docket today is the encounter with Tetra music, the music that plays in the cutscene where you find Tetra, the pirate, dropped in the middle of the woods. Is it something like that, maybe? Compare. That sounds more right. I'm gonna leave it there. A very accidental piece. Is it fitting that there's a lot of accidentals where you a song where you accidentally get your sister kidnapped? No. Let's see. So follow the same pattern. Just move down another chord tone. Bomb bomb. Okay, we can do that. Absolutely, we can do that. Bomb bomb. Me. Okay, so let's see. What are we missing here? Ooh. This is music for an incident. That's true. That's incidental music. Music for an incident. What's that thing called? That's not a whip. The whip is the two. I'm trying to think. The like, bzz, bzz, you know. you know what I'm talking about. Well, that hits with the timpani. Bzz, that little percussion. Playing percussion in high school was fun, actually. It's a vibra-slap, I think. It's got a ball and a long metal pole that curves around like a U and then has a little wooden shaped trapezoid sort of thing on it. And then you hit it and it goes... Bzz. That was always fun. There was that one. I remember there's one that you grind and it makes like a sound. The Weeros are fun. I love playing percussion was kind of sick, actually. It was mostly super boring and mostly sucked, but once in a while you got to play with a fun toy. No vibra-slap? Oh, I'm appalled. We gotta make our own vibra-slap. We won't have the sound though. Vibra-slap. This is really like just a showcase for all the goofiest instruments that you could use on a tune. Hey, super high xylophone, pizzicato strings, does vibraphone, the vibra-slap goes with the... Oh, I got it a beat wrong. Okay. 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 True. Slidey trombone. It really is. This is good. If I ever have to write music for an incident, I'm going to steal this instrumentation. So did we get all the stuff? I think we did. Let's see. We missed a timpani hit here. Boom. Was that a D? Boom. Just low. Maybe it's bass drum. I'm gonna leave it as timpani. Okay. Let's start from the top. Not so bad. And then we have our weird beam. Okay. Thank you, Ash Bandicoot. Boom. This is bits 2. Maybe I'll even put a new letter. What the heck? Oh yeah, now I need to figure out. Oh, the ratchet! That was the grindy thing. Thank you, Fortune's Jukebox. Yeah. And it was funny too because, you know, you start doing it in like 7th grade, 8th grade, whatever. For us, it was 7th grade. 6th grade, we had no percussion section in our concert band. I don't know if that's typical or not. All around the world, but we only started percussion in 7th grade. So I played trombone for my first year band, and I was terrible. I could barely make a noise on it. But they just put every kid who couldn't play anything on trombone. So the trombone section was like abysmal. But so I went to percussion, and you would get, music, and it would say ratchet on it. You'd be like, I don't know, what is that? A steel drum band. That sounds fun. I'm jealous. So it's xylophone. All ratchet, no clank. Nice. Huh. See, that note kind of sounds like Celeste or something. Yeah, it really does. Okay. So I think this top line is actually Celesta. And the bottom line is xylophone. Let's see. Maybe I'll just put it on. Oh, maybe I'll put it on. Like soprano sax or something. Like, is the you know? You know? It's definitely like accordion. I'm putting it on accordion. That's another super goofy instrument. So you gotta think he's probably just sticking with the theme. Like, that sounds exactly right. It's probably some bad MIDI accordion. Because there's a couple points where he plays 2 notes at once, kind of smushed together. Like that. So it's definitely not like an oboe or something, right? Okay. Yeah, the melodica. The piano that you blow into. The breathalyzer keyboard. Absolutely. Boom, boom. The reverse talk box. It talks into you. Ooh. Okay. It doesn't quite, it like almost repeats. Okay, so let's start from the beginning, make sure I didn't get lost. So here we are. Nice, a little major third. And now this kind of slows down. That's a big slowdown. So we'll do, what's the big writ? Molto writ? Yeah, Poco's a little bit. Molto is a lot. Hello? I said molto writ. Oh, it did molto writ. It's just, there's a bunch of staves up above it. Ha ha ha. That's right. Does it scoop? Does what scoop? The melodica was invented in Germany in the 50s. Okay, so this could be a melodica, actually. Maybe that would be... I mean, not that... I mean, that is probably what it is. Because it doesn't sound full enough to be an accordion. And there is a melodica on Sibelius. No vibraslap, but they got melodica. Explain that one. Yeah, that sounds better. Okay, good call. Who is it that said melodica originally? I can't find it. Well, thank you. Oh, Kowalski. Thank you. You nailed it. There might be a middle note in there too. Yeah. Hey. There we go. Let's see, in that last... No. Hold on. This is a G. Does it go to 4 notes? No, I don't think so. Does that sound too empty? Let's see. That's definitely not what it is. Might be that. I'm not hearing a G though. Bum. Let's try and hear that note. Bum. Oops. I think it might just be this. Let's see. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. Okay, and then it loops back, I believe. This is the loop while you're talking. Yeah. Beauty. Hey, that wasn't so bad. That definitely wasn't as bad as all the complaining I did beforehand. So, let's hide all these. Good. Hide. Does the Celesta need a bottom stave? No, it doesn't. So let's get rid of that. Get rid of that. The strings do barely. Might look weirder to hide. No, that looks fine. Okay, cool. Let's listen. Oh, accept. Oh, did I not set the tempo at all? Oh, whatever. I guess it's just happens to be at 100 beats per minute or whatever the default tempo is. Beauty, and then this is great. Yeah, that sounds right. So this is cool. This is just A sus4. It's a very cool way of expressing A sus4. I guess because really, if you added up all the notes that were being played together, you would end up with like an A, like this kind of A sus13 thing. Because we got G and F sharp, and the xylophones and the melodica are both outlining an A sus E thing. So it's very colorful, but you don't get all the notes at once. So it doesn't come across as like lush or colorful. It's all these cute little dainty instruments dancing around it. But it has a much cuter vibe than if everything was just like what if this was just doing A chord tones. It's like the instrumentation is still cute, but you lose the color that puts it up into the upper echelon of best video game music in the world, because Wind Waker is the best game soundtrack in the world. Fight me! And then we resolve to A. I'll go A, G. Cute, fun, excellent. Let's do one more. Oh yeah, okay. So the next one, I do believe I already have a reduction transcribed for, but I didn't transcribe out the full score. So this will be fun. We'll get to do. This is another cutscene one too. Why would I fight you? You were right. That's what I like to hear. Okay, so this is the cutscene where Aryll sees her brother coming out of the woods with Tetra and goes, "Brother, there you are. Let me run across this bridge to get to you. Surely nothing bad will happen." And of course you have Aryll's theme while she's going, "Hey, it's me. I'm your sister Aryll. Listen to this theme. Remember that." And then while she's running, all of a sudden, big bird coming. Get got. And then this part, well, here, let's listen to the original actually. Bird's coming. Oh no! Snatches Aryll. She's gone. She's snatched. She's getting carried off. And then Link is running after. I'll get you! But he's not thinking. He's about to run after off a cliff. Whoa! He falls. Tetra catches him. You idiot! You're gonna get yourself killed. She's gone. There's nothing you can do. I always thought it was funny how quickly Tetra was like, "There's nothing you can do. Forget about her." Like, this is your fault. But yeah. Anyway. You know what I love to do in scores? I love to get rid of the bar numbers. I think they are clunky and they look bad. Okay, so we have all the notes. It's just a matter of instrumentation, which is not my strong suit. As you can probably tell watching these streams, I can pick out notes pretty quick, but picking out instruments, I don't know. It doesn't come as naturally. Hence Melodica Gate 2026. So I'm going to, let's listen again and see what instruments we hear. So that's what, clarinet and strings. I think clarinet. Not change. We need to add. So we'll do some clarinet. Oh, jeez. Here we go. I need strings. Still, that's all it is. Those are like, so there's like trumpets and probably horns and trombones together. It might be like a generic brass patch that he was writing with. I don't know, but we'll do trombones. Just one trombone then. Horn, alp horn. What is an alp horn? Horn in F, no key. Yes, okay. And then I'm sure there will be more instruments. It sounded like there was some snare drum and stuff too, actually. But we'll get there. Let's start with the start. If I do this, is it going to... No, it's not going to work. Okay. So you have to delete a rest at the beginning of every bar so that you can have just a pickup note. How is music stored? Hello, Viola Buddy, by the way. Always good to see you. How is music stored on disk? Is it stored as MIDI data and virtual instruments? That's a really good question. I don't know. It must be a sound file. Right? I think it's a sound file. I have no idea. Good question. Pokemon soundtrack. The original Pokemon soundtrack is an all-timer. Absolutely. And I would even say Gold and Silvers is better than the original, but it doesn't have the same, like, you're the first to do it points. Like, original Pokemon soundtrack defined the sound of video game music for a while. For, like, up and, with its tendrils reaching into the modern day. So I will... I'll still fight you. Don't get me wrong. I'll still fight you. But one of my favorite moments of Wind Waker, so good. Orchestration, timbre recognition does take a lot of work. I think of... Tell me if this is wrong. I have it in my head that the jazz and classical split. One of the ways, the Coke and Pepsi of serious musicians are either jazz or classical. And of course, I'm not trying to be reductive. There's lots of musicians playing lots of other kinds of music. But you can't go to school to play. You can't play heavy metal in university, in college, Or maybe you can at like Berkeley or one of these hip places, but you know what I mean. You know what I'm talking about. I could just copy paste from this line, couldn't I? That'd be a tad easier. I guess I'll keep the chord symbols there too. Okay. And then we'll put these in the strings. What was I saying? Oh yeah, but the classical minded people have are more into timbre and texture and that sort of thing. For obvious reasons, because the orchestra, that's like part of the whole point of the orchestra is to play around with those musical elements. Whereas jazz people seem to not care that much about that and care more about like the cool notes. And I'm very much in the jazz camp. But I think that spills out into like, pop producers are more orchestral or more classical minded in the sense that they care more about the like textures and the production, like the way the sounds actually sound. And don't care if the note choices are generic. Whereas, jazz cats love to crap on pop music for that very reason. Obviously, you should care about both. I'm not trying to start a war here, but... These don't need to be staccato because they are pitched. Oh, and actually, because I have a double staff now, I can do this. Boom, boom. Then I don't need a bunch of ledger lines. Nice. Very nice. Maybe I'll just throw all these on the treble clef, actually. Or I don't know. What looks worse? Breaking up these. Hold on. No. There we go. Okay. I can't see. My iPhone is my camera, and it's on a stand right in front of my monitor, so I can't see this part of the screen at all. And when I pulled out the mixer, it was totally covered. That's why I did that. Okay. Boom, 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 boom. Like, I hate to break up eighth notes like this, but I also hate ledger lines. So what's the play, you know? Okay, so we got that part. Sounds more like oboe to you. Let's take a listen. Oh, I think you're probably right. Yeah, you're right. Thank you. As I was saying, I am educated in jazz. I have a jazz degree. At no point in my jazz degree did we talk about how to differentiate between a clarinet and an oboe. Not that you need a degree to do that, but you know what I mean. See, yeah, that's the thing. Sibelius oboe is so nasally. But it's like, I know an oboe player could make it sound like the way it sounds on the recording. Maybe if we could do English horn. Okay. So, arco. It's like not like a full, there's breaks between the beats. So I could write it like this. See, that sounds right. It looks more confusing though. It's not like da 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 da. Yes. Okay. I will change this to English horn. I got distracted. Oh yeah, that sounds way closer. Good call. Good call, everyone. Joey Harrington and Kyle Davis specifically. And Fortune's Jukebox. Let's see. And then we have our brass here. So could just be trombone. Sounds kind of like trombone and horn to me. I know, like, Super Nintendo, I've, played around with Super Nintendo patches enough to know that on the Super Nintendo, it was very, like, string patch, brass patch, and the brass patch would actually play, like, the same note in octaves instead of just one note, one pitch. I mean, it was one pitch, but you know what I mean. But then this is 2 whole console generations later, so I don't know. Maybe he's intentionally, like, layering trombone and horn. Maybe he's got, like, a general brass patch. That sounds just like generic brass MIDI to me. But, whatever. I could just put it on a brass staff, I guess. Okay, hold on here. So we got everything in this bar. I'm gonna delete my outline, my reduction as we go. See, this middle line is definitely trumpet. I love how he's playing the Aryll theme. Well, let's do that. Let's get rid of the horns. Add in brass. Generic brass sound. And put that in the brass. Put that in the brass. Then I guess I should put everything in the brass. This seems kind of lame, actually. It doesn't look like a score if you're just going brass. So we'll keep it the way it was. I'm going to put a little bracket that this is natural, because I would see this and assume that I'm going up to C sharp, even though maybe that's a dumb idea. No one's actually going to be playing this music. This is just for reading. Okay. So the strings are hitting that C too. So we know the strings are doing this throughout this whole thing. This is a bit of a mess. Did I? It kind of sounds like that part kind of sounded like a horn. You know, this doo doo. I can't tell if this bottom triplet is in the strings or not. I think it is. Yeah, because these stabs are definitely strings. Okay. And then there's also a little something up here that I need to hear. What instrument is playing that? I can barely hear this part. I'm just trusting my past self's ears on that one. Is there a C in there too? Possibly. How does this sound? The strings are so much louder than everything else. Let's see. Oh, this is not even a trumpet. I was just assuming that this was the same instrument going to that line, but that's not even on there. Okay, so there is a flute too. Let's get a flute going. Might be piccolo, I guess, if it goes way up here. And let's put a little gliss, a wavy gliss. Nice. Tetra is my favorite Zelda because there ain't no way she speaks British. Yeah, no kidding. Tetra rules. Man, it's so funny. I don't understand how Wind Waker had such fun characters. It seems like every Zelda since has had not fun characters. There's been a couple, you know. Midna's a fun character. Groose is a fun character. But just like everyone in Wind Waker is so funny. But Groose is like comic relief too. It's like Link is the one getting catapulted into the side of buildings and like in Wind Waker. Making facial expressions is what I meant by So this is that sounds like trombone. I'm going to put this in the horn as well. Yeah. Oh, let's get the snare drum going too. There's a snare drum in there for sure. And some crash cymbals. Oh, tambourine? Okay. So there's tambourine. There's snare drum. There's... I'll just put cymbals because it's suspended and... Okay, that's not what I want. Cymbals. Okay, come on. There we go. Suspended and a crash. Put those up there. Then we can hide. Okay, I'm getting distracted. Let's see. Oh yeah. I think there's like this is gonna play in octaves. I think that part. Let's see. And is it strings playing this? Mommy! Let's see. I think it is. So, okay, hold on here. I love to get distracticated. Let's we'll put this not as just an octave on the bottom part because it leads right into that bit. But okay, here we go. Yeah, that sounds right. Okay. Whatever. I'm not gonna question myself. I'm wondering if it's also a horn playing that thing. Possibly so. I'm just gonna leave it in. Ooh, I almost missed a vibra slap. Oh yeah. Oh, okay, that's right. I was putting in percussion. That's what I was supposed to be doing. Ding, ding. Okay, where does the tambourine come in? Yeah. And then the snare drum comes in with the what's it called? Trumpet here. Let's get that snare drum. Whoo! Jinka jinka kaka jinka. That's grooving. Boom boom. Like a rim shot. Rim shot. Jinka go. Oops, not that. Ah, there we go. Oh, I missed a blah button. Blah button, blah blah. Okay. Ooh, sounds like there's some timpani or possibly bass drum. Definitely timpani. So let's put in the timpani. And then we got this in the trombones. I should put on the horns too. I think it's actually in the strings as well. You know? Okay, so we got all of this stuff covered, I believe. We're just missing some cymbals and timpani. Oh yeah, what is it? Vibra slap. It's like the tambourine kind of stops and then fades back in, it sounds like. And we need to, I won't even search for Vibra Slap because I know they don't have it. But that's fine. I wonder if these were written in the same day. And the writer was like, love that Vibra Slap. Let's go. You know what? Okay. Now where does the cymbal come in? I think it comes in. Yeah, this kind of thing. And then big crash. It is, the timpani sample doesn't go that low on Sibelius, but I guess it did on whatever they were writing the music on. gotta be Celesta doing these beam boom bums. I was thinking either Celesta or like Glockenspiel, but I'm gonna go with Celesta. It sounds a little bit more full than a Glockenspiel would. Could that be the? Could those be the right notes? It's something like that, no? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I was right the first time I transcribed this. D. No, that's definitely an E. Okay. Oops. Oops. Let's see. Okay. And we got this whole other part too. Let's see. Okay. Oh, okay. I think we got everything. I don't think we're missing anything, but let me know if I'm wrong. Let's hide everything here. Gotta leave every instrument on the first page. So that you know what you're getting into when you read the score. Delete all these opening arrests to show that it's just a pickup. Let's listen to what we have so far. Okay. So that's a flute for sure. Is it? It sounds so different. I think it is. It's not that high, no. Maybe it's just a different sounding flute. Maybe it's a low piccolo or something. Vibraslap is named Jawbone in Sibelius. Hold on a second. This changes everything. Jawbone? Did they used to make them out of jawbones? Now it's a shaker. Shaker sound. That's not what I want. I'm going back. Come on. Go back to Vibraslap. Yeah. What a disappointment. Yeah, it kind of does sound like a tin whistle or something. It's like low enough that I'd be surprised if it was piccolo, but... Oh, maybe it's doubled by two things, actually. It used to be a donkey's bottom teeth. Are you telling me a donkey's bottom teeth make that noise when you slap their jawbone? If you have a pet donkey, you give him a slap. That is so funny. Wow. Is it like piccolo and flute doubled, and that's why they don't sound like different instruments? Let's see. That does sound right. Okay. Okay. So then this part of the melody is taken by these strings, it sounds like. Okay. Let's see. What am I missing back here? Some snare drum for sure. And a little extra donkey jawbone at the beginning. Boing. Awesome. I should absolutely notate Link's grunts. So, what is the timpani doing? I think it's doing... I don't know what notes it's hitting, but it's doing that kind of rhythm. Is it hitting a C? That doesn't really make sense that it would be. I'm just about to just give this to bass drum and call it a day. It's definitely hitting a C. That makes no sense with the rest of it though. Like a B flat in the bass and a C in the timpani. Okay. Then this has got to be strings doing the chugs. Link is an instrument of destruction. Do I have any exercises I'd recommend for getting faster at writing or transcribing music besides general practice? Transcribing, a lot of, for me at least, I'm not like a perfect pitch guy where I go, you know, someone slams their car door and you go, oh, that was a D flat. So for me, it's more about recognizing sort of like how a sound feels. So like, let's take a detour. An A, you know how a major chord sounds versus a minor chord. Major sound. Oh, that's nice. Oh, that's sad, you know. But getting way deeper into that and being able to say like, oh, I recognize this kind of sus chord because that's like the soul funk sus chord. Being able to recognize like a 13 flat 9 chord because it sounds a very particular way and not in isolation. I'm not saying like sit there and play 13 flat 9 chords and try and remember how it sounds. Find songs that have this kind of cadence. It would go down like this. It's like that move, that resolution is very popular in a certain style of music, you know, in old jazz, old 40s pop music. So it's like listening to stuff, working out, you know. You also have to kind of take it step by step too. Like you're not going to jump right to transcribing really dense chords like that, but just try to play along with songs, try and hear the root notes. If you can transcribe the root notes of each chord, then add in like the general quality, not worrying about, oh, is the voicing right? Like, no, just get the feeling right. I do have actually an exercise to help sort of with general because all this stuff is tied together, you know, like ear training helps you transcribe, transcribing helps your ears. There's an exercise that I used to do a lot where you pick a chord progression that you know well, like say the Bob on Battlefield is a good one because there's lots of chords in it. It's not just like a 2-chord loop or something, but it's also easy. It's the right balance of like not complicated chords, but there are lots of chords. So it's like you have to test yourself, see if you can sing through the roots of the progression. Do. So you're like bum 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 bum. And you don't have to be a good singer, obviously, as I just demonstrated, but just being able to hear the root motion. Then once you can do that, can you sing starting on the third of the first chord and then like voice lead your way through the progression? So the chords move from C to F to like C to F major 7 to E minor 7. So if you start on an E note as part of the C chord, bum 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 bum. So you're starting on dum 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 dum. Then you go, well, I can stay on E because that's the major 7 of F. Dum 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 dum. Then you go, okay, I'm gonna drop down. I'm gonna avoid the roots. I'm gonna drop down to the 7th of E minor. Dum 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 dum. And like that way you're kind of learning voice leading. You're working through how voice leading works in real progressions. You're working on your ears because you're trying to hear these chord tones, and you're learning how the chord, like how chords, you're learning how the relationship between different chords sound at like an atomic level. And that's super helpful for transcribing, where you're like, I can't hear all the individual notes, but it does sound like it's going to the 4 chord, you know? It sounds like a major 9 chord. That's how you get that. That's how you develop that sort of instinct, I think, is by spending time like learning how the individual voice leading from chord to chord makes these harmonic choices make sense, or explains why you would make whatever harmonic choices you're making. That's a little exercise for you guys. It's also just fun to do too. It's like a little puzzle. Okay, so the snare is going like bop 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 to get that done. Yeah. Also, like learning different instruments helps a lot. I was like, I'm not really I know a little bit of piano. I've worked on it a little bit, and transcribing piano was always the worst for me because it all sounds the same, and like you can play such dense chords, and it's hard to pick out individual notes. But learning a little bit more piano, spending more time learning how to play piano, kind of taught me. First of all, familiarized myself with the sound of the sorts of things you play on piano, and also kind of gives you more of an intuitive sense of like, well, the piano player wouldn't play that. They would probably play this. And that sort of thing helps a lot when you're transcribing. Like, I don't play a string instrument, so I'm still like totally out to lunch when transcribing strings. But actually, no, I'm not studying string scores and kind of understanding, oh, it sounds like this. There's only this many notes on the score, and it sounds this full. Like, I used to think there was way more going on in string parts than there actually was, because I didn't realize how rich a string instrument really sounds. When you have like a string orchestra, you could just all be playing a C note, and it sounds so big and nice. So you're like, well, it can't just be a C note, but it is. So yeah, score reading helps too. There's lots of things, lots of different aspects of musicianship to work on all the time. Okay. That's a big crash. I like to do these little tails on cymbals that you let ring. What instrument is playing that part? Let's see. Hello, Shal and Jake. It's a live session with me, 8-Bit Music Theory. Every Wednesday, we transcribe Wind Waker music. Oh, geez. I'm getting lost here. Email me if you have a business inquiry at 8bitmt@gmail.com. I've been thinking, the question is, do you want to be a musician in academia? I assume that's pointed at me and not someone else in the chat, but like, no, I don't. I don't know. I've been thinking about, because I only have my undergrad. I don't even have a master's, so I feel a bit like underqualified to be teaching about music, but I don't know how to say this without sounding like I'm bragging. I'm not trying to brag. I've had multiple people say like, oh, your work is at doctoral level. So I'm like, oh, so I could get a doctorate probably in music theory, but just, I don't know. The thought of, there's a lot about school that I hate. Just the structure of it. I probably will be using these in future videos, but not any particular. I don't have any particular plans. But what happens a lot is me going, I need to make a video, and I need to do it fast. What transcriptions do I already have? Because that's usually the longest part of the process, is transcribing a bunch of music. Like, what is it, a pan flute? What the heck is doing that? I'm just gonna put it in flute for now. Oops. Let's see. Doesn't really sound quite right, but I think the flute maybe it is right. Because I think the flute piccolo combo is playing this line for sure. And this leads really nicely into that. I have it down an octave on my reduction, but maybe that's just to get it out of the way of the melody. Yeah. Sweet. So then, oh yeah, I have those strings doing this. Okay, let's see what else is happening. Whoa, okay. Tuba's coming in. Gotta put a tuba on that. Add tuba. Oh, geez. Okay, I'm getting out of all instruments. All instruments is too cluttered. Okay. Oh, I can just copy paste, can't I? Okay, so in this, oh no, I still have to get these hits down here, which I'm sure are like timpani or something. Let's see. Sound like strings, and they kind of sound like brass too. Should I put them in tuba too? Hmm. Hey, Emma Metcalf has just started music composition lessons. Amazing. I hope it goes well. Not underqualified at all. Master on music ed here. Your level content community. Oh, thank you very much. That's awesome. You don't need a school to validate your experience. I mean, yeah, I think that's true. This is the thing. Like, my problem is I have the tendency to be like, you don't need to go to school, man. But then looking back at my time in music school, it was hugely beneficial. And like right after I graduated, I came out really hot. Like, you don't need to go to music school. But then looking back, 10 years out, it's like, yeah, I should have. It was good that I went. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe one day we'll see. I have small kids too, so I'm not about to pick up and move to a different place to go to school or something. You know what I mean? But maybe in future. I appreciate how you feel like you would a teacher that wants even the musically challenged to learn. Oh, I feel like a teacher that wants, yeah. I think, music is interesting. Music theory is super, super interesting. So, it's like a total travesty that theory has a reputation for being boring, because it's the least boring thing in the world. And if you just act that way, then people notice and go, oh yeah, music theory is interesting. Music school especially is really hard. I did a composition minor during my undergrad. Definitely spent way more long nights working on music assignments than I did with. Yeah, I've heard that like jazz school is pretty rigorous. Actually, my wife went to jazz school with me, and then she got another degree afterwards, in a leisure science, like a more straightforward university degree. And she was just like baffled by how easy it was in comparison, how much less was expected of her. Which, also going into a degree at whatever, 22 is different than 18. You do a lot of growing up in those 4 years too. Yeah, there's a lot of rhythms going on here. Music school definitely is right. Oh, hey, Eric. How's it going? I didn't see you here. Eric, talking about the musically educated, Eric Laddish is going to be a doctor music, I don't know if I'm allowed to say that and if that's a secret or not, but let's see. Harder part of music composition is that it's a literal real-time evolving event. Yeah. Composition, if you're writing music, you're always reacting to what you're writing while you're writing it too. Like, I don't get. Here's a hot take for you guys. I hate the sort of classical academic composition idea of like, you should not compose at a piano. You should just hear what in your mind what you want the music to be and put it down. It's like, yeah, that's a great recipe for writing crappy music that nobody likes. Like, if you're not discovering something that you never heard before when you're writing, why are you writing? If you're not discovering something that excites you, of like, oh, you can put that note there, and oh, you can move in that way, that would be cool. And it's like, what are you writing the piece for? If you're just like, yes, I know, I'll write a 12-tone row that get bent. I mean, but so I shouldn't go back to school because I hate stuff like that, and that's all music school is. But man, I'm getting way too distracted here. That's a C. Probably low C. One little tuba fart. Bomb. So this was a flute up here. This sort of probably flute piccolo double again. Let's see. Might just be piccolo, actually. I think it's just piccolo this time. And then the strings are doing this sus2 chord here. Put some fermatas down. There we go. And then what's doing the little Aryll theme? It's gotta be the English horn again. That's a cool callback. I didn't notice that when I transcribed it, that the Aryll melody is played in the English horn, and then he takes a break for all the craziness, and then comes back after she's gone to be like, whoa, this sucks. That's definitely horn. One, two. That's a great move. This harmony, so sick. Oh, gorgeous with the C minor arpeggio underneath. Oh, harp. And then that's got to be the Glock on top. The ding, ding, ding. This is going to be quite a big score, man. Common instruments, harp. We're not going to need the bottom, I don't believe. And we'll put Glock in there too. My goodness, yes, please shrink it down. Okay, where's the harp? So I'm going to copy this voice, put it in harp. I don't need that. There we go. Okay. Nice, nice, nice. Oh, what would you say is a practical, helpful activity for people who want to get better at writing orchestral compositions? Listening to a lot of orchestral compositions might seem like an obvious thing to say, but I know I, at one point, had it got in my head like, I'm going to start writing for orchestra after, 3.5 years of jazz school. And I had no idea where to start. And so I asked my friend who was super into that stuff, like, what should I start? How do you start writing for orchestra? And he was like, well, what kind of orchestra music do you like? And I was like, oh, I don't know. I don't really know any. It's like, okay, well. It's like, oh yeah, you can't really write something that you don't actually like. If it's like being like, I'm going to be an author. Oh, what's your favorite book? Oh, I don't read. Like, okay, then you should not be an author. But depending on what kind of orchestral music you like, try and copy it, If it's old, if the scores are on IMSLP, then you can just look at the scores, and that's fun. Copy them down, make score reductions. I love doing that. That's super fun. Kind of get used to translating between like an idea that you can hold in your hand, a C chord, and then see how it looks on the score, and then be able to... There's a certain amount of like score reading and writing that you can do where you, while you're writing, you just kind of can tell like, this looks right. This looks like a real score, so I must be on the right track. Oh yeah, the Glock. That's what I'm missing. Okay. Then, let's see. These two... Oh, the Glock changes though, doesn't it? Goes up here. The harp never changes though. Harp. Harp never changes. Let's grab this one and copy paste it. Yes, okay, awesome. And then I think we can delete the piano staves. Yeah, I think we got everything. Okay, so then we will remove the reduction and leave just the score. And then let's listen to this ending bit and make sure I didn't forget anything. These cut off a little earlier. No, yeah, it's just Glock and harp. Cool. That just goes and goes and goes. I trust my old reduction with that. Okay. Man, this is a big score. So let's hide. Let's optimize all the spacing of everything. Let's put these chord symbols. I never know whether to just put them on top or to put them where the chords are actually being played, like in the strings. But I'll leave them on top for now. Well, let's listen to it, I guess. Well, no, I'll put chords on. Oh yeah, no chord because this is just a cluster. What is this? A, D, and E flat. So a nice tritone and semitone cluster for extra grossness. And then the trombones and horns are kind of sort of like an A minor-y thing, but landing on an A flat for that surprise. Everything weaves together. C minor-y thing, again landing on it. Oh no, we get this like D7. D7 with an E flat and A and D on top, so sort of like D7 flat 9. So let me put, I'm gonna move the chord symbols down here. I'll put, starting here, we'll start putting in chord symbols. Whoa, maybe I won't do that. Maybe I'll put them up here. D7 flat 9, sharp 11, because there's G sharps up here too. Man, this trumpet is so quiet. And then this is A flat. Oh no, come back. Okay. So this is like an A flat, flat 5. So it's A flat, C, and D. And then we get sort of, it's like an E flat 5, but then the natural 5's up here. So maybe I'll do like E sharp 11. So we're hitting, should I make these A sharps? Okay, so then this is G minor over B flat, very obvious in the strings. A flat over C, I guess, if you count the timpani. And then this is A minor, B half diminished, I guess, because that's F and A over a B root. Held C note over a B half diminished chord, that's cool. C minor, D half diminished, same pattern. C, so what is this? This is like a D flat over C kind of thing. Like a D major 7 over C, let's say. Like we're outlining a D major 7 thing. Whoo! To C sus2. That is such a nice resolution. I gotta remember that. Flat 2 over the 1 resolves to the 1 sus2. What a cool sound. I'm gonna steal that. Then we get, of course, C minor, F minor, C minor, D flat over C. That's nice too. then we'll just copy paste those chords because the harp does the same thing through the rest of the cutscene. Okay, now let us observe our work. Ready? Oh, Aryll, nice to see you. So sweet. Oh, who's coming? Just is too loud. There we go. The flute piccolo combo is absolutely the right call. Thank you, everybody. That hit so hard. Oh, the fermata broke up the hellbat. Too good, dude. Too good. And then Aryll's theme on the Glock, vaguely. With the flat 2 though. Oh, heartbreaking. And that's sad. And then I assume this loops. Actually, I probably could put repeats around it, but that's it. That's it for today, guys. That was great. Oh, excuse me. I'm missing a super chat. Thank you, Spin to Saturn, for the super chat. I think you should drop by the 8-Bit Music Theory Discord weekly challenge listening party this week and rate some waltzes. That's a good idea. I'll see if I can. Yeah, you guys should all join the Discord if you haven't already and write some waltzes for me to rate. Fighting Zenith here. How are you doing, Fighting Zenith? What are your thoughts on Meccano Associates, the group who did the music to Zelliard, Sylphid, and Thexter for Game Arts? I don't know anything about them. Sorry. I wish I did have thoughts on them. Ooh, what's the nod to Ganon's theme at the end? That's I didn't notice that. That bird stole my sister. Yes, the song rules. It's like such a cartoony game, right? The style of it. But the music is so potent that the emotional beats hit so hard. Like you're actually like, no, Aryll. Okay, so for next week, we've done 15 tracks so far, which is pretty good. Next week, so the next on the soundtrack is Grandma, which I have transcribed, so that'll be fast. So we'll do Grandma. We'll probably do the departure, leaving the Outside Island cutscene, and then after that is the one that we've all been waiting for. The pirate ship theme. Boom, yep, boom, boom. That's gonna be fun. So tune in next week to watch me transcribe the pirate ship theme. I promise I will get to it, even though that would mean 3 tunes in 1 week. That is definitely doable. So, is Departure the I love that tune. That'll be super fun. Okay, thank you guys for coming by and checking out the stream. If you live in Winnipeg, consider buying tickets to my show with the Winnipeg Jazz Orchestra on April 16th. There's a link in the description of the stream. Yeah, consider buying a 8-Bit Music Theory hat or mug or something. I think there's probably, I have an online store stuff that appears under my videos. I'm sure you can find that. And you can always support on Patreon if you like what you see and want me to keep doing it. Yeah, have a good one, guys. See you next week for another Wind Waker Wednesday.